On Sports Dream Day is on the air. Seth Harp has handed the microphone over to the people that have sold themselves as worthy hosts. 5 contestants with an opportunity of a lifetime. Be a part of the program by calling 947-0102 and 866-399-0102.
Hey, let's get this party started.
You're listening to Will Martin on ESPN 102.1 and ESPN1021.com.
ESPN1021.com is the website you can listen to us on. I have taken over for Seth Hart. Well, not really taken over, just kind of, I've always wanted to find myself in this seat, and this contest was a lot easier way for me to get here. My original plan was to lock Seth in his office, but that could come along with charges. So avoid the whole legal situation, I decided that I'd enter this contest and we would proceed as necessary. And so here I am, no charges. And speaking of that, we're gonna take a little journey here. Follow me, people, follow me. I'm gonna tell you a little story. Now vision yourself, some of you might have kids, some of you might not, but you're going to have a kid, and that day comes, that glorious day comes, and you have a bouncing baby boy, and that baby boy comes into the world, and he's, you hold, oh, look at the baby, and you watch that little boy, and he's growing, and he starts Little League, and he's playing football. And he goes on and play high school ball and goes on and he plays college ball, and he's great. He's one of the best in the country, and he gets drafted. He goes to the NFL. And then one day he just goes upside your head. Your bouncing baby boy came in the world that you're so proud of, goes upside your head. And this is the story that Des Bryant has lived out this past couple of weeks here. When Des Bryant turned himself in Monday to DeSoto, Texas police, and has been charged with a misdemeanor for allegedly assaulting his mother. His mother claims that Des grabbed her, shook her a little bit, smacked her in the face a couple of times with a hat, and slapped on her wrist or whatever that was about. But point being, Des Bryant is the hopes and dreams of the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys were lucky to get him, first off, because he was one of the top prospects in the country coming out of Oklahoma State. He got suspended for the whole fiasco, for whatever happened in college. He still went in the first round. He went 24th overall to the Dallas Cowboys in that year's draft. And the Cowboys have put their whole future in them. So much so that the great number 88, the number 88 carries a lot of weight with the Dallas Cowboys. They give this jersey to Des Bryant. He is their number 88. He's the new Michael. They had 88 wide receiver Pearson before my time. But during my time, it was the big three in Dallas. It was Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and Troy Aikman. Michael Irvin was number 88. They gave that number 88 to Des Bryant because you're going to be our guy. You're going to be part of our new Cowboy regime. You're going to take us to the Super Bowl. All of our hopes and dreams are being handed over to you in this number 88. Des has been in the league 2 years and has been in the news countless times for numerous transgressions off the field. Des is one of those players that right before the offseason starts, right before you go into the offseason, he needs to have that before you go in the store talk. Anybody ever had that before you go in the store talk? Like you pull up to the store. Like my sister and I are 16 months apart, so my mother would pull up to the store, Walmart, Kroger, wherever, and she would pull up to the store and she would stop. And she'd say, listen, before I go in here, don't touch anything. And don't ask me for anything. That was the conference before we had this meeting before we went into the store. So we knew that once we went into the store, we've already been talked to, we've already been warned. Before you go into the store, talk with Des Bryant before every off season. They need to say, listen, before you go out there, don't touch anything and don't ask for anything. Stay at home and we'll see you in August when training camp starts. That's the conversation the Cowboys need to have with Dez if they're going to put this much focus into him going into their future. And so now you get to the point, the question's being raised, when do the Cowboys cut bait? When do they say, okay, we got to give up on this kid and just, accept our losses and move on? They can't. Not right now. When you put your whole future into this, you got to remember on one side of it, the NFL is a business, and the business is winning. Losing is bad for business. When you lose, it is bad for business. It is part of making money. So if you got to put up with a player's transgressions and the fact that he's a semi-idiot off the field to make money, that's what you have to do. Because when the season starts and it comes time to sell tickets, and we can't sell tickets because we're 0 forever and nowhere near Super Bowl, we're not making money. So Dez is a necessary evil that the Cowboys have to put up with right now. But what you have to do now is you have to do damage control. You have to get somebody in there that's going to take up time with him, hold his hand, give him those before we go in the store talks. Because you know what happens when those before we go into the store talks didn't work? There was always an older kid, an older sibling, an older cousin, somebody that watch your little brother when we go into the store. Don't let him touch anything. Don't let him. That they need somebody like that with Dez Bryant to go into the offseason. Watch Dez. Make sure he doesn't touch anything. Make sure he don't slap his mom in the face with a hat. And you got to explain simple things like, because he showed a tendency to be a bit of an idiot. So you got to hold his hand and you got to coddle him because this is our future. And he's shown that being able to handle that type of attention, that type of celebrity is not for him. And then I saw some quotes that say, it was how he was brought up. It was how he was raised. I give you a little of this. Okay, Dez is 24 years old right now. His mother is 37. You can do the math on that. He was born to a young, experienced teenage mother. He now has 2 kids at 24. This lesson, more than anything, and I said this about a little bit closer to home on the college level, Isaiah Crowell, when he recently was dismissed from UGA. I said this about him. I'm getting at it a little later, but I said this about him as well. People blame it on their upbringing. The fact that they have the opportunity for greatness, the opportunity to provide a chance for their kids and their future that they never had before, should encourage them and motivate them to want to be successful, to not make the mistakes and do the silly things that they do when they're not with the team, when they're not being watched. I alluded to the UGA talks, what's happening with Mark Richt. He came out at the SEC Media Day today and made his first comments on dismissing Isaiah Crowell from the team. We're going to go into that, going into the next talk segment. We're going to break. Y'all keep it locked. It is Will Martin on 102.1 FM ESPN. I'll see you in a minute.
This is a special presentation of Harp on Sports. ESPN 102.1 is proud to present Dream Day. You're listening to Will Martin on ESPN 102.1 and ESPN1021.com.